Hidden deep in shadows, a figure remains still, cloaked in the darkness around them, a couple daggers at the ready in their hands, as they wait for the prey to pass by. Not a sound is made to disturb their surroundings. Then, without hesitation, the figure throws the first dagger with mastered accuracy, and the second one soon after. Only a gurgling cough could be heard by their victim as they fall to the ground, drowning in their own blood. The figure quickly hurries to the body and searches for his prize. He pulls out a thin, long, locked box. The figure checks for traps and unlocks the box with practiced skill. Without a second thought, they leave via another passage without making a single sound. This is the rogue.
Welcome to another class episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're gonna get.
Hello, I'm Tyler, and with me are Dave and Sean. And this episode is called Rogues, Experts in Stealth Management.
This episode covers all the things about the base rogue class from the 2024 Player's Handbook that you might need to know.
So, rogues, as mentioned already, they are the stealth experts. That is what they're all about. So before we get into the mechanics or the fun things that they can do at every level, let's talk a little bit about them, what they are. Not only are they masters of stealth, but also subterfuge. If you think of it that way. They're quiet and they're excellent at causing trouble. They are the local shit disturbers. Oh no, my goodness. But they're also very cunning. They essentially want to have people misbelieve on things that they want. They want to find ways to get the upper hand, really. Especially in a magical world, they want to be in control. If they don't know magic, they want to control those that do. Or at least be able to manipulate them. And also, they are the absolute experts when it comes to locks and traps. It's really the training ground, essentially. But that's what we have for the kind of the background of rogues, that they are these experts in everything for hiding. But if we look at some ways to play rogues, again, we want to think of this. They want to stay hidden. Rogues are not the front and center person. They are wanting to hide and stay out of the spotlight. So even if we're in social encounters or exploration, they don't necessarily always want to be the spotlight.
No, but they're probably going to be involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're going to be paying attention, they're going to be listening, they're going to be scheming or something, right?
Yeah. And that's just it, is they're going to be involved, but you may not know it.
Yeah, they're not your frontline fighters, although they can. They're not backline fighters, but they can. But they are really mid-ground fighters, right?
They are. But even outside, like in the exploration standpoint or in a social standpoint, at the table, they can definitely have the spotlight. The player can have the spotlight, but the character in the game won't.
Outside of combat, they're really indispensable at what they do.
Exactly. Absolutely. And as I mentioned, they want things in their favor. They want control. They don't want someone else being above them. If it's not going to go their way, they're just going to get out. So, and a little bit of a warning, guys. Rogues can be a little edgy. Just a little.
You don't say.
Oh, I just did. But if we were to think about stereotypes here a little bit, they are the sneaky ones, obviously. We've talked about this already a little bit. So if they ever need to go look for something, scout for traps, scout ahead, you're sending the rogue. You're not going to send the cleric with heavy armor.
No, these guys are fleet of foot. They move well, they observe well.
Absolutely.
Right? They honestly should have perception built right into their class, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Or investigation.
Yeah.
Again, it's not always just about looking around them, it's about what's on the ground in front of them.
Yeah, these guys are situational awareness incarnate.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also feel like they like to use their environment to their advantage as well, to be able to gain that upper hand.
Absolutely, yeah. Here's something else to think about is, what if they're in a party that doesn't necessarily have intelligent-based classes like a wizard or something like that? It could be that the rogue is actually the intelligent one in the party. That is the even can be the book smart one that is looking for information in books.
Yeah, I mean, if you have an unbalanced party, the rogue can kind of fill out whatever you're missing, right? It doesn't matter what it is. Whether that's spellcaster, you've got arcane trickster. Whether it's fighter, you got sneak attacks, right?
Absolutely, yeah. What's a sneak attack? We'll talk about that later. But if we were to look at kind of the backgrounds and species that are kind of mostly generic with them. Species, you got halflings, which is very common for rogues. Gnomes, these are the two smaller races.
I always like gnomes because they were...
My apologies.
I'm going to make that mistake many times. But I like gnomes because they were kind of trickstery too.
Exactly, yeah. One thing I like with rogues, though, is also tieflings. And that's because they already have that kind of disadvantage in social settings. They're not always viewed as the norm. And so people already look down on them almost as assuming they're criminals or something. So it almost leads into that.
Yeah, society pushes them towards it almost.
Exactly, yeah.
I've always kind of felt that elves also kind of lead into rogue behaviors as well. You know, having the time to be able to master things like sleight of hand.
Absolutely,
and,
yeah, dexterous.
Exactly.
Things,
They're lithe and dexterous and
They're better than you at everything.
At everything.
Yes. When it comes to backgrounds, though, criminal, obviously, is one of the big ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if we think outside of that, I like to think of charlatan as one.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And one that kind of stood out to me was noble. Because if you're playing in a campaign and they're a political person, it's very likely that they could be a noble rogue.
Well, I mean, the nobles are just robbing the common folk anyways, aren't they? Class inequality.
We are talking about classes, you're right.
Yeah.
Rogues,
absolutely. Rogues, yes.
But if we're to look at special items that are like, before we get to the obvious, let's talk about the weapons. Usually it is things that can be either thrown from a distance, like knives, or shot, like crossbows, that are small enough and easy enough to maneuver. Or if they're up front, they're going to use more finesse weapons, like a rapier.
Yeah, I think rapiers and hand crossbows are the most common weapons I've seen with a rogue.
Yeah. Most common I've seen have actually been just daggers throwing.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Usually they try and get a magical item saying, "Can I have my dagger returned back to me?" And I always say no.
No.
I have a rogue in party that I'm DMing right now, Soul Knife, and he just throws psiotic blades. And it's just
of course.
a pain in the butt. I love it, but... But the obvious item that every rogue has, or at least must have, is thieves' tools. If they break theirs, they're getting a new one. Because this is the essential toolkit that they have for picking locks, disarming traps. And there's various uses actually for thieves' tools that you can, outside those obvious.
Like opening up manacles, opening up chests, unlocking doors, gaining access. Like you need those. You need this.
And other party members can have thieves' tools and try to use it, but the best person for this is going to be your rogue. 100%.
It might actually be worth encouraging another party member you're close with to carry a spare set for you.
Ooh, that's good.
Maybe, yeah.
Especially if they have a habit of breaking it.
Well, I mean, I have a DM, Adam, who likes to attack our character sheet. So
how dare he?
If I can spread some of my character sheet onto some of your character sheet, that's better for me, right?
Then he has two people to attack.
I'd rather you didn't...
He's going to attack Dan anyways. Like, let's be clear here.
And Dave, man, I've known you for a long time, but I'd rather you not get your character all over my character.
It's not what you said yesterday.
Speaking of which... If we would talk about spells, I said blends right in.
Right? Perfect.
Oh, he put a spell on me.
Yeah.
You mentioned Arcane Trickster not long ago. And they're the only rogue subclass that really uses spells. Other than that, they use magical items that kind of use the idea of spells to kind of give this idea and to give them a boost. But if we take the spells firsthand from an Arcane Trickster, some of the main ones we're looking at here, again, we want to think of a rogue. We got Mage Hand. you're going to want invisibility. You're going to want disguise self. These are going to be your common spells as an arcane trickster, the rogue that uses spells.
Yeah, a lot of an illusion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to cause deception, subterfuge.
Yeah.
And this works both outside and in combat.
I can't recall. Do they have much in the way of enchantments, or is it just illusion?
Just illusion,
Usually,
really.
yeah.
There's maybe a couple others, but...
Yeah.
Or if they take a feat, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, then they have 3 feet. Shake your heads, yes.
If they're a gnome, yeah, they'll only be 3 feet.
Exactly, yeah.
Tired of you already.
Yeah, well.
We've only been here for 12 minutes or something.
So if we were to think of how a rogue trains, what are some ways that you think would a rogue train?
To me, the stereotypical rogue, it was probably more like a street urchin. And kind of honed these skills over many years of getting caught. And not quite pulling off the heist. You know, trial and error, that kind of thing.
Trial and error,
They've gone through some shit to get here, right?
Yeah. And continue to do so.
Yeah.
Especially in a party.
Absolutely.
In my head, a rogue is always fiddling with something in their hands. They're always, playing with one of those little logic puzzles or something. They're rolling a coin between their knuckles. They're always...
Fidget spinner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're always
It's
finding a way to keep their manual dexterity moving and their hands
To
warm
stim.
and ready, right?
That's good. I like that. I like that if they try and find new ways to be stealthy. What are some other... How can they roleplay that other than, I'm going to roll for stealth? How are you doing that? What are you doing?
Yeah.
So finding these ways to be stealthy, I find is a great way for them to kind of train and to get and be a better rogue. So we mentioned already one subclass, the Arcane Trickster here. And they're essentially enhancing their abilities through magical means. Makes sense. But we have 3 other subclasses that I'm just going to quickly mention. We're going to cover them at later episodes more in depth. But before we continue on, I want us to get an idea here of these different ways that we can go with it. The next one is the Assassin. And they're the killers from the shadows. They're most likely to get that one-hit kill type of thing. You have a Soul Knife, which I had mentioned one of my characters was playing already. And they attack both the body and the mind. They're experts at this. And then the last one is the Thief, which could also be called more of a treasure hunter or a grave robber. But not so much on the killing, but the finding of loot is what they are after.
It belongs in a museum!
In my pocket.
Is he a rogue?
Is he? I mean, Harrison Ford is a dashing, lovable rogue.
Who uses a whip.
Who uses a whip.
Yeah.
Leave it alone,
I'm not gonna
Dave.
argue with you.
Leave it alone.
When have I left a whip alone?
Continue on. Love it. So good. So if we're to look at the PHB and see what do they recommend for skill proficiencies, the ones you have to choose from are acrobatics, athletics, deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. Holy cow.
Would have been easier to just not name the ones. That
Yeah,
they
exactly.
have,
These are the ones that you can't choose.
Yeah.
Exactly. But what I do find about all of these, that they all have in common, is they're used for getting out of situations. One way or another. It's getting in to grab something and get out. Or finding information and getting out. You have deception and insight, intimidation, to find the information, investigation to look for, and perception.
Yeah, when you guys capture an opponent or a bad guy, this is your inquisitor. This is the person that's going to be asking the important questions. They are very intelligent and they're going to get to the point quickly,
Absolutely. But they're also experts of leaving without being noticed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's what I find all of these are great for, is both of those aspects. It depends. It gives a lot of flavor to what kind of rogue you want to play.
Well, that was one of the things that I liked about this edition, is that there are less skills than previous editions, and that kind of allows you to apply them to more scenarios. So when you have a skill monkey like a rogue, it just opens the game up a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
By making them more generic, they're more applicable in more places.
Absolutely, yeah.
Until they become good at everything.
Which is a valid concern with these guys.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
are
it is.
good at
Yeah.
a lot of things. Yeah.
But for multiclassing, if you want to multiclass into rogue, which a lot of people do, You do need a minimum of Dex 13 for this. So keep that in mind when you're making your character.
Yeah, it's not going to make a lot of sense if you're a dex of 6. Oh, I'm going to sneak in the shadow. No, you're not.
No.
You are not sneaking anywhere. You are not dexterous enough to climb over a log.
Yeah.
You just knocked over the glass chandelier. You don't know how you did it. It was attached to the roof, but you did it anyways. So, Dave, why don't you tell us about the tiers 1 and 2? What do you get there?
So when we get to tier 1 here, level 1, you get a couple of neat things here. So you get Thieves' Cant, which...
They can't what?
Exactly. Thieves' Cant is just kind of like a street language, I guess. So, like, people can leave their markings on walls. And only thieves can really, yeah, not like that, not marking their territory.
Oh, okay.
Like tagging, right? So you can see these little changes. It kind of allows you to read the streets a little bit. You kind of can get a good feel of things. It really is its own language. Okay. That's pretty generic between previous, like the then and now kind of thing. That hasn't changed. The big difference now is that Thieves' Cant also comes with an additional language of your choice.
Okay.
Does it still come with sign language? Because I know some editions played Thieves' Cant as being able to sign language from distance.
Yeah, Thieves' Cant it's kind of an amalgamation of like sliding in particular words and phrases into sentences, hand movements while you're talking, body language, posture, but also your environment. Like, it can be a multitude of things, right? When you have a lot of different species, hey, I got it right that time, are living, in the same area, you're going to have different languages that not everybody's going to be able to speak, but you are going to have these little social cues that may be regional, right?
Yeah,
that kind
absolutely.
of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Thieves' Cant. The big difference here is in the new edition, you get the other language. Now you also get expertise. In regular 5th edition, you get to double your proficiency modifier in 2 different skills, and you get to do that again at level 6. Okay. Now, expertise is you gain proficiency in 2 other skills. Okay, so you just get more. Okay.
Yeah.
And you get 2 more at level 6. Now, I believe these have to be off of the rogue skill list.
Yes,
but
it is. Yeah.
but that's pretty powerful. You're going to get most of them by the time you hit level 6 here, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other big thing you get here at first level is what rogues are famous for, sneak attacks, right? They cause an extra d6 of damage. This does increase by 1d6 on every odd numbered level. So level 1, you get 1d6. Level 3, you get 2d6, all the way up to 10d6. Okay, so you get quite a bit of sneak attack damage here.
Yeah, you do.
But there are some conditions with it, right? You have to use a finesse or a ranged weapon. You don't need advantage if an ally is within 5 feet of the target. Otherwise, you do need to have advantage on it. If there's no one around, you need to have advantage to get the sneak attack. And it's the same. I believe it's actually like word for word the same in the 5th edition to, I'm just going to start calling it 5.5, I guess. Yeah. Right.
But to note, though, in 5.5, it's a lot easier to confer advantage as well.
Yes, advantage has changed.
Yeah.
So make sure you know what you're doing when it comes to that. But that's the big asterisk. Good point.
Yeah.
The other thing you get here at first level is weapon mastery, which you gain mastery properties with 2 kinds of weapons, and you can change both of them on a long rest. Now, that's different from other classes. Other classes, you only change one.
Yep.
This one, you can change both.
Which is nice.
Well, it kind of plays into the more versatile side of what a rogue is, right?
Yeah, I that's one reason I kind of like it, is they're not using those real heavy weapons. A lot of the martial weapons, they're not really using.
No, even like it says right here for your sneak attack, it has to be a finesse or a ranged weapon.
And so it's kind of limited on what they can do, but it allows them to choose within that range of limit, again, what they want.
Yeah, I like it because you're not going to be sneak attacking with a great axe. Because of course you're not. You're going to be running over and hauling back this giant axe to swing it.
Now, what if they were to fall onto a great axe?
That's worth exploring, though. Like you can make that happen. You want to get over here, take the barbarian's great axe, lay it down, and give him a little push. Away you go, right?
There you go.
Nothing wrong there. But that's really the other big difference. Is every class now in the new edition have weapon mastery at first level?
No.
Sorry, just martial classes?
Just martial classes, yes.
Makes sense. At second level here, you get cutting action, which is just bonus action, dash, disengage, or hide. This is the exact same. This has not changed. Level 3, we get subclasses or archetype, as they used to call it. I'm not going to get into that really too much, but it unlocks at 3. The difference here is that at level 3 in the new edition, you get an ability called Steady Aim. You can use your bonus action to impose advantage on your next attack, but you cannot have moved this round. And that also means that you cannot move afterwards. So this is it. You're spending your move action and bonus action to get right in there to make sure you've got that perfect aim, right? So you can get your sneak attack with advantage. Like you can impose advantage easier and sneak attack. Like that's a really good addition to this.
Yeah.
That's really going to help, right?
That really does, especially when you're in situations where there's no place to hide. Because that's usually the thing is bonus action hide. Do they see me? Roll a stealth check. You don't need to do that. They can just stay in the open, which allows them for a nice target.
Absolutely. Well, and it allows you to kind of take it into your own hands too. Like how many times as a rogue have I positioned myself to attack next turn, but somebody comes in and kills the guy that I'm standing beside and moves way over here, so now I don't have my sneak attack. So what am I really doing? Because I'm only going to do 1d8 damage. Is that really worth it, or can I go do skills something else somewhere else, right?
This in conjunction with cunning action as well. If you can position yourself using a dash or a disengage in the previous turn, this helps out quite a bit.
It really does.
Yeah, it makes you more mobile, I think. It kind of helps you with that. Next at level 4, we get an ASI, ability stat increase. We all know what this does. Level 5, we get Uncanny Dodge, where you can use your reaction to have damage from an attack you can see, right? This is the same in both.
Still one of the DM's worst nightmares.
Oh, I'm just going to have it. Yeah, but you have to use your reaction. So
you can do it once.
Yeah. At our 5th level, we get Cunning Strike, okay? Where you get to deal extra damage on your sneak attack. Now, this is a little complex, okay? Now, remember I said before you get so many d6 for your sneak attacks based on your level. So level 10, you get 5 d6. What you're going to do is you're going to use these d6 essentially as charges, okay? And it allows you to well, I'll get into it in a second here. The different abilities that you have starting at 5th level, the first one here is Poison, where a target makes a Constitution save. Now, the save for all of these is going to be 8 plus Dex plus your proficiency modifier, okay? It doesn't matter what it is, that's what your DC is going to be. Now, if the target fails this, they have the poisoning condition for a minute and can repeat this save at the end of the target's turn. Now, this requires 1d6. So on your turn, if you want to use this ability, you would roll a d6, and if it comes up as a 4, you need to remove 4d6 of your sneak attack dice in order to use this ability. If it comes up as a 1, then you need to use 1 of your 1d6 sneak attack in order to have this ability hit.
Interesting.
Does this make sense?
I misread it originally. So it's not that you just spend 1d6 of your pool. It's you're actually rolling the 1d6 cost for poison.
That was my understanding of it.
Interesting. Okay.
That is interesting. Yeah, I'm just reading it here. It seems that is the
I did get that right.
No.
And specifically when you deal sneak attack damage as well, right?
I don't know, because it says you remove the die before rolling, and the effect occurs immediately after the attack's damage is dealt. No, you just remove it because it says in the example, in the PHP, it says, if you add the poison effect, remove 1d6 from the sneak attack's damage before rolling.
Okay, so you're not rolling it, you're
It's
removing
just
it.
cost.
Okay,
Okay,
so,
all right.
So you were right, I was wrong.
Okay, so it's the cost is removed from your sneak attack pool.
Yes.
So the poison does remove 1, so you can always do this. You don't have to roll ahead of time. I was a little concerned about that because like, you're going to roll ahead of time? What if you're level 2?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you couldn't be. You have to be level 5, but you're
Even
still going to have to roll low in order to get these to happen.
It's just taking away one of the dice.
Okay. I'll be fair, or to be fair to myself, I was very tired when I read this.
Hey, it's another.
That's fine.
The other, there's 2 other abilities here you get at 5th level that you can do with the Cutting Strike. You get Trip, which if a creature is large or smaller, they must succeed on a dex save or become prone. I believe that's also 1d6 sneak attack. Yep. And the other one is Withdraw, which, again, 1d6 to do it. And after an attack, you can move half of your speed without incurring attacks of opportunity.
Ooh.
Okay?
That's kind of nice, actually, if you're especially up close.
Yeah, that can be very, 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 very handy.
And you're not using your bonus action to do it.
Right, so
you're not using your move action to do it either.
So you can move, you can bonus action, you can attack, and then you can move half of your speed without
incurring it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, that would only apply to your base speed. If you bonus action dash and move double speed, you don't get half of that. No, right? But that's still, like, you go from...
That's pretty powerful at 5th level.
If you have 30-foot movement, that gives you 75, right?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, that's monkey. Sorry, monk-esque.
Yeah.
Or monkey.
At level 6 here, we get another subclass feature, okay? Level 7, we get evasion, which... following a dex save, you take half damage on a fail or 0 damage on a success, right? This is the same. Level 8 is an ASI, level 9 is a subclass feature, and level 10 is an ASI. So lots of ability stat improvements here, or ability score improvements. And yeah, it's good because that's going to affect your skills, right? You're going to change your modifiers, which is kind of what these guys are for, right? You want to increase those abilities because that's what they got.
I think it's really interesting that you have some ASIs so close together like that.
It's really unique to this class, right?
It is. It absolutely is.
But it really hammers home how important the different abilities are when you're choosing your skills.
Yeah, I look at that as you can just have that many more choices of feats of that you can take rather than taking just upgrading a skill.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It gives me I like the old 3.5 human fighter where you get like 75 million feats at level 2.
Every other level.
Absolutely. Yeah. I like that.
End up calling your thing a centipede. Too many feats?
Yes, absolutely.
Whatever, man. I'm tired.
I call my thing many things. Centipede is not one of them. Millipede.
So what do we got for 2, 3, and 4 there, Sean?
Level 10, like Dave mentioned, ASI. That's pretty simple. We all know what that does. Level 11 is interesting because they rearranged a bunch of the skills from 5th edition in comparison to 5.5. And they actually dropped reliable talent from 11th level on 5th edition to 7th level. So, which gave us the ability to throw improved cunning strike at level 11 now. So now you get to use 2 cunning strike effects when you deal sneak attack damage and paying the die cost for each effect, which is handy. Being able to poison and trip something is going to mess it up severely.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, or trip and withdraw, right? Knock it down, get out of there.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, I should go back. The thing with poison that I didn't mention is that the rogue needs to have a poisoner's kit on them in order for them to be able to use that ability.
Okay.
If you do not have the kit, you cannot poison. That makes sense.
I would really nail that home as a DM.
Yeah.
Every time I say, I'm going to poison them. Do you have a poisoner's kit? Do I need one?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Or they rely on it and you can take it away from them.
As a DM... Okay, I'm going to sidetrack us for half a second here. As a DM...
Half a second.
Damn it. All right, moving right along. No, as a DM, how does that timing work in your head? If somebody's going to use this as a... What do you need for it? Is it when you deal sneak attack, right? So it's an attack action has to be made.
You have to hit.
You have to hit.
You have to do damage.
You have to do the sneak attack damage.
Yeah, so you have to have advantage or have an ally within 5 feet.
Yeah. How does the timing work in your head to be able to apply poison to that in the process?
The way I look at that, because that's a really good point, is I would say that the rogue would have to have a weapon prepared ahead of time with poison on it. So as part of that sneak attack, it's almost with their offhand, they're hitting it with this as well, not dealing damage, or it's part of the sneak attack.
I see it as like they've got a pouch with some powder on it and they can just take a bolt, dip it, and shoot.
All right.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking something else with that for a second. They have a powder full of glitter, just throw it in the face.
Bucket sand.
Bucket sand.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I think it makes sense because like you're being sneaky. You're using your sleight of hand to get this extra motion in here to it fits the theme. I think.
No, that absolutely does.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, level 11, you get 2 of them. Huzzah! That's amazing. Level 12, you get another ASI. Level 13, you get another subclass feature. Level 14, we start talking about devious strikes.
Ooh, devious.
Yes, and these are basically your cunning strike increased. So you've got a couple new ways to be able to use your sneak attack. You get daze, which costs 2d6 of your sneak attack pool, which means that the target has to succeed on a Constitution saving throw. Or on its next turn, it can only move, take an action, or a bonus action, not a combination of the 3.
Okay.
So it forces it down to a slower state. What is the condition for that? There's actually a condition
Isn't
that
that like
confers that.
slow? If there's someone who cast a spell slow on someone, it's similar
I think
to that.
so, yeah, right? Anyways, the next one we got is Knockout, and this one's going to cost 6d6, and it's the most expensive out of the set.
Holy
What level do you get
cow.
this at?
14.
14, so you'll already have 7d6.
So you
at this
spend all
point.
but one.
All but one, yeah.
Yeah. So and Knockout, it's a con saving throw, or they get unconscious for a minute, or until they take damage.
So
Boom.
it's like the video game Knockout.
Kind of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The target can repeat the save at the end of each of its turns, yada, 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 standard save nonsense disclaimers. Obscure is your third one. It costs 3d6. And they've got to make a dex save, or they're blinded until the end of its next turn.
They're blinded until the end of its next turn.
Yes.
So by the time it comes back to you, they will be unblinded. Okay. All right.
I like the way that they've got the pricing set out for this. I do feel as if a knockout is going to be a lot more devastating than, just dazing somebody.
Yeah, but you're not doing it until you're level 14, and it's taken all of your damage to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not in love with the knockout actually, because they also get a chance to save at the end of every turn. It's not like they're straight unconscious for 1 minute. 10 rounds. No. End of every round, they can repeat the save. And at level 14, whatever you're facing, might just have a high con.
But I'd rather knock them unconscious, have them lay down, go prone, incur opportunity attacks when they stand up, that kind of thing, than do an extra, on average, 18 damage. Right? Because it's 6d6.
Yeah, 66.
Right? So, 6 to 36, half of that's your average.
Well,
right?
It also depends on who's coming next.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
If you got a barbarian or fighter heavy party, or someone throwing fireballs,
It's another tool in the tool belt, which I really
absolutely,
appreciate.
yeah.
Level 15, moving along. Level 15, you get Slippery Mind. This is similar to what it was in 5th edition. Your Cunning Mind is, you gain proficiency in Wisdom and Charisma saving throws, which is handy. Level 16, another ASI. 17, another subclass feature. By this point, you're already looking at 9d6 in your sneak attack pool.
Oh,
So again, Knockout looks a lot more attractive at that
Now it
point,
does,
where
yeah.
it's not eating up all of it, but you're still going to get some useful out of it. 3d6, right?
Yeah, it really does or help balance the idea that you're using finesse weapons, which are going to be like 1d6, 1d8, right? You're not going to be hitting with a bastard sword doing a d10. I like that.
Yeah. Level 18, you get Elusive. Basically, you just you can't be targeted with advantage. Sorry, let's try that in a different way. No attack roll can have advantage against you unless you're incapacitated.
Okay.
Yeah, so essentially you're never caught off guard.
Yeah, that's handy.
That can be, especially at level 18. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, on so many things, because here's the little DM tip. If the players can use it, so can the DMs. This is how the players protect against that.
And that's why my players don't use counterspell.
They learned that lesson once.
The whole party learned that lesson once, yeah.
Level 19, you get your Epic Boon Feat, pretty much the same across every every character class in the book. Level 20, your Capstone ability. It's called Stroke of Luck. It's very similar to what it was in 5th edition. And you can turn the roll into a 20. If you fail a roll on any D20 test, you just...
On any D20? So if I want to succeed on an attack roll?
If you fail a D20 test, you turn it into a 20.
Huh.
Yeah, that is pretty Capstone.
Hold on, you turn it into a 20, or you turn your die roll into a 20 and add your modifier?
You turn it into a 20.
So
Is
you
all it
flat.
says.
So if
but,
the DC is 23, you're still not successful?
But given it's saying if you fail the D20 test, as a DM, I would say that the result of that test is 20.
Yeah, I agree. But so if the DC, like I said, was 23, they still fail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can use it again after a short rest or a long rest.
Or a long rest. Okay, yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
For a level 20, that's pretty decent, especially when you're getting some real heavy hitters and they're doing some real heavy magic against you.
Well, and the important part about this as well is this really leans into how useful the rogue is. Yes, I had to look at the name of it. I was thinking ranger in my head. I'm glad I said rogue.
A rouge?
The rouge?
Yeah.
A red.
This really leans into how effective a rogue can be outside of battle as well, right? When you're doing a lot of skill checks for, disarming a trap or opening a lock or opening a door or whatever you can think of for a skill, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So I have some questions for you guys.
All right.
So let's roll for some initiative here as we continue to talk about the rogues here. And let's see what's coming.
Oh, I got knocked from a 19 to a 9, but I'm still going first.
You're still going first. Go
Yeah.
figure.
And I'm going last with a 4.
I got a 6.
That's fine. That's all good.
It'll work.
Yeah. So my question to you, Dave, only you, no, to all of us, to you, Dave, is overall, how do you feel about the updated Rogue compared to what it was in 5th?
I like that they have made your sneak attack dice a pool that you can work out of in order to do different things. That was a really interesting pivot that I think is going to work out for them. If they continue to build upon this, right? Like this is good, a good addition. I mean, honestly, rogues seemed a little lacking. Like when I play a rogue, I never played a thief. I never played an assassin. I wanted to do, soul knife. I wanted to do arcane trickster. I want to get that fancy spin on it so that I'm not just hiding in the shadow and stabbing it with my knife or my rapier or sneaking over here and stealing the thing, right? Because it's really easy to get shoehorned into that.
It is, absolutely.
Right? So I think they've done a good job with giving you a little bit more mobility, and that's kind of what I'm finding with this new edition in general, is you're less one thing and you're more part of a team. You're able to affect the character sheet a little bit more, right? Mm-hmm. Or affect the stats a little bit more, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not as thrilled with the rogue. I think I just have a bias against rogues in general.
Oh, because Adam drives a Nissan Rogue.
That must be it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, must be. I would be really interested to deep dive into the subclasses for this at some point. Because I feel as if there's probably a lot more flavor that's going to be conferred there than I'm getting out of just this.
It's funny, I'm noticing the more that I'm looking into this, the more my favorite subclass archetypes are not there anymore. Mm-hmm. Like with the barbarian, I was a big fan of the ancestral guardian, that.
Yeah.
And then even with this, the rogue, I use the scout. Currently I'm playing one,
yeah.
right? Like it's brilliant. It's right up my alley. It's I love playing that. So I noticed that we're missing that, but I mean that's going to come out with our next.
And that's just it. We have to keep in mind that the different subclasses are going to come out later.
But with this, the way it is, I'm really looking forward to seeing what those look like.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. What about you?
I do like that some of these things have a cost. I like that the resource management. It used to be with rogues and other martial classes that it's just hit and wait for your next. Whereas this, it gives them the idea of resource management. They can have some fun with that. It gives a bit more complexity, which is nice. I'm not the biggest fan of rogues because I always find them a little OP, and I still find it this way, especially with like steady aim and stuff like that. It's almost playing on easy mode, depending on the kind of campaign you're playing.
You're right, but you got to keep in mind that when that bolt hits, it's only doing 1d6 plus 2 damage, right? It's not hitting with the same power as a spell that does 1d10 plus
that is
or
true.
an axe, right?
But when you have sneak attack and such power, behind that. But that's just, again, I have nothing against rogues. But I just find sometimes I want more complexity. I like that they have given it some more complexity in this.
Yeah, there's more than sneak and shadow, stab with poison.
Exactly.
Although there's still a good amount of it in here.
Absolutely, yeah. So second question for you guys. What is a role-playing tip that you have for someone who has never played a rogue before?
I think it's really important to, based on your party makeup, obviously, be aware of the fact if you're not in combat, it's really easy for you to take center stage and take away from other players at the table, because you are designed to have that social interaction. You are designed to have that exploration interaction. How easy is it to send the rogue in to scout ahead while everybody else sits there with their thumb up their butts, right? Happens all the time.
Yeah.
I think as a player, you need to be aware of this so that you're not taking more spotlight than is yours, right?
Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense.
That's fair. I think that also partially comes down to DMs and how they craft the scenario as well.
Sure, yeah.
Yes.
If you've got, like, everybody knows, my game is focused mainly combat pillar.
Sure.
Right, I don't really do the other ones. If you're going to do mainly exploration pillar, well, I mean, it's not going to be a big problem for you, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
My role-playing tip is to try and keep away from this class really tends to lend itself towards edgelords. And
What?
My family is dead.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure there's more orphans than not.
Right?
Yeah.
Go the other way. Have fun with it. Have a family.
My parents love each other, and they've never had anything wrong, and I just thought that this would be a great way to, make them proud. And
have a litter of kids, in the middle of a farmland, in the middle of nowhere, right? And you're sending all your money to them to make sure that you can feed them. Or this is just fun for you. You're already set up with, having whatever riches you already have. You do this for fun.
yeah,
right?
you can be an eccentric doing this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun. I like that. If I had to give a role-playing tip for the rogue, it would simply be, think of how you would respond in certain situations away from the edgelord, like you were saying. But also, myself as a DM, I love to try and put the rogues in my party in situations that they would not usually be in, and to see how they respond. So as a rogue, I would recommend think alternatively. Think of different ways that you could respond to a situation.
Yeah, how are you going to react when you're standing in a well-lit room with nothing to hide behind?
Exactly. Yeah. How is the rogue going to respond when they are questioned by the local authorities?
Yeah, are they going to be obtuse or get along?
Yeah, exactly. Think outside exploration. Think outside of combat. Think of when the spotlight is on them in the character, not the player, the character. When the spotlight is on them, how you're going to react.
I like it.
Yeah. So I got one last question for you guys. On a scale of 1 to 12, 1 being the best and 12 being the worst, where does the rogue rank in your excitement to try them out at a D&D table?
4. Easy. They're not in my top 3, but they are the class that I play the most. If I'm trying to make a one-shot, I don't really want to put a lot of time into what I'm doing. I'm grabbing a rogue because I'm going to be able to do a little bit of everything.
That's fair.
Especially if I want to, like, Arcane Trickster, right? That's something that I've dabbled with a couple of times. I don't think I've played too many subclasses multiple times. Arcane Trickster, I absolutely have.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right? I try to like dip my toe in playing one-shots with different classes. But this was one that I needed to revisit over and over and over again in order to kind of get into it, stick my teeth into it kind of thing.
For me, I mean, there's no surprise I'm rating this one low. Sorry, guys.
You're allowed to be wrong. You often are.
I have no want or drive to play a rogue character. This is bottom 3 for me.
Yeah, you're a conformist.
I don't like it. It's not my cup of tea.
No, it's very much kind of its own thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas you've got Marshall and casters. These guys don't really fit either, but they are absolutely. You need one in your party, right? Mm. You have to have one almost
for certain aspects.
Yeah.
I think for myself, if I'm playing a pure rogue 100%, it's also going to be low for me, like 10. But if I often like to multi-class into a rogue to get some of those first few levels, to have that for flavor and for fun. But as a DM, I don't like creating rogue NPCs often.
No. No, I agree with you there. I like the idea of using a rogue and a monk together.
Yeah,
That could be fun.
That is,
And the thing about rogue NPCs in my head is you never see them anyways.
that's true. That is very true. The DM does.
Right?
But say you've got monk speed, you're going 60 feet, bonus action dash 120, plus you can move your half without taking a thing. Holy shit, right? Like,
Yeah, that gets disgusting fast.
Yeah, it does. Stop min-maxing.
no. I'm a 3.5 player, I will.
So we've had some thoughts on the rogue here. That we haven't seen too much change, but we've seen enough to see quite a difference when it comes to resource management, when it comes to a couple new abilities. What if you guys had to give an idea of what was your favorite or least favorite thing? What would it be?
I'm going to go least favorite on this because I think I've really praised rogues a lot here. I feel like the ASI is a bit of a cop-out. I feel like if you got Skill Monkey, you can give them something that's a little bit better. Now, that being said, I think they call it an ASI, but they should put feat beside this one in particular. I know that you can take a feat for it, but I feel like this really should be a feat as opposed to an ability score increase.
I like that.
Right? Where most of the time I'm going to be taking the skill increase and not the feat. This is backwards, right? I think that's a bit of a cop-out.
I do like the versatility of being able to use sneak attack dice as a pool.
Yeah.
I do think it's versatile. I still think it's not broken necessarily, but they tend to be good at everything that they're good at. I don't know. I just don't find that interesting. Personally.
I don't know. I do like that they're taking away from sneak attack now. I mean, there's other things, but
Sure.
I mean, trip. It's not super powerful. It can be, sure, it can be in the right scenario,
situational.
But like they give it to you at 5th level, so it's obviously not game breaking. You know,
Yeah.
it's a tier 2 thing. You know, it's there's I don't know.
Yep.
Well, one thing I do like is about the rogues is that the level 3, that steady aim, that gives that ability. Again, it just changes it up. They can still hide if they want to and do it that way, or it's a matter of they have a good position, they want to stay where they're at, but no one's nearby, so they can have advantage that way. But they may not see the other person that's behind them.
Yeah, that's a good point about the steady aim. Is the rogue traditionally has been in the shadow, sneak, stab, withdraw. This, I feel, gives you more ability to sit back and take those long shots, right? Where before I was grabbing my hand crossbow as an afterthought, just, I got nothing else, I'll use my hand crossbow. But now it's like built right into it. That might be the first thing I go to. That steady aim really does
It does change
things
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I also like the challenge it poses, that it does put them out in the open where they're seeing. Because often enough, rogues, get so much into the trope of I'm going to hide and shoot from the shadows. Now they're in the open. They might be in a good spot, but they're in the open. Mm-hmm. I like the challenge that poses.
Yeah, because they are squishy. If you notice, we didn't talk about anything
That's true.
gives them extra armor or anything like that, right? They
Revives them in any way.
Yeah, no, they get hit and they get hurt.
Yep. And the thing is, though, they only have a D8 for hit dice.
And it's not even really like they're glass cannons either.
No,
but you're not going to put into con in this either, right? Like
but at 20th level, you're getting 60 damage, or 31 on average for sneak attack.
Yeah,
That's not much in the overall scheme of things.
Yep, no, that's true.
Now you add that to how many attacks do you get per turn?
No, you only get sneak attack
On the
once.
first attack.
First attack.
Okay. Okay. So if you can knock off 6 damage in order to impose a trip and make them prone, that's good bang for buck right there. That's value.
Or you can knock them out.
Yeah, or knock them right out.
Yeah.
Yeah, this gives me like monk with key points vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just kind of nice. I like that.
And I like that they didn't give you some sort of stupid ranger stat pool, right? Like they took something that was already there and took away from it. Mm-hmm. They didn't add to it, and that less is more in this. You know? It worked.
Is.
It worked well.
I would agree with that.
Well, that's it for today. So thank you again for listening to another episode of It's a Mimic. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is called. I don't know. I use Spotify. That's the one. Go Spotify. Use Spotify.
Sponsor us.
Yeah, sponsor us. Yes, please sponsor us. Other than that, we do have a Patreon, and you can find us at www.itsamimic.com. Thanks again for listening, and you never know what you're going to get.
That's all for this class episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. This episode and others can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, or review to help push our engagement. Thanks for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.
This week on the It's a Mimic podcast, now that we're done with the Alien RPG, which I hope everyone listened to and enjoyed, and we'd love to get your feedback for it, we are going to take a kind of slow week where we relax and we only release one episode on the public channels and one on the Patreon. Which of course is a lie, because we don't know how to stop here. It's a sickness and we need your help. So, besides this episode for today, we also have an episode tomorrow where I sit down with Andre and talk about environmental hazards, specifically the environmental hazards that you would find in Iceland. But he's dissatisfied with what 5th edition or 5.5 have to offer as far as how dangerous the wilderness can be. And so we sit down and kind of talk about what does exist and then also how we would change it. One of the main focuses is on glaciers. So I hope everyone goes and checks it out, because we're getting into the holiday season and people are going to start thinking about Christmas one-shots and stuff. And there might be some good environmental and exploration inspiration for people there. So, and then on Thursday on the Patreon, we have another spells episode where Steve and I sit down and talk about trickery spells. We talk about rogues on the public channel on Tuesday, so it's trickery spells on the Patreon on Thursday. So these would be spells that are not necessarily for the arcane trickster, but if you need to pull a fast one on an NPC or a monster, what are some of the low-level spells that we think deserve a little bit of a spotlight? Also on Thursday, on all the public channels, is going to be our Legend Lore book review of the Forgotten Realms Heroes of Faerun book that just came out. And then on Friday will be the sister book to it, Adventures in Faerun. So we're going to hit both of the Forgotten Realms books kind of bang bang later in the week here. And Brad and I sat down and decided that we were going to have a little bit more of a critical eye for what was included and what isn't, especially because this is the sequel, honestly, to the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, which was by far the worst book of 5th edition. So we do kind of dig into that a little bit and take a look and see what we like, what we don't like, what we think is missing. So make sure to stick around and check that out as well. But for now, let's head to the good stuff. It's the end of an episode on playable classes, and that means it's time to talk about a subclass available in D&D Beyond in the partnered content section. This episode was on rogues, so I want to tell you about the Misfortune Bringer from Grim Hollow. Grim Hollow, as you might be able to guess from the name of it, is a campaign setting that is grim dark fantasy. It's a punishing world full of moral gray area surrounded by evil and death that is actively trying to destroy all life and goodness in the world. It leans into the illusion of gritty realism while staying within the D&D rule set, and it's one of the most popular third-party expansions for D&D. It's harsh and it's brutal, and there are currently 3 books for Grim Hollow on D&D Beyond. The Misfortune Bringer is one of the 3 subclasses available for the rogue in the player's guide. The basic premise here is that you are able to curse your opponents with bad luck. And you do this by using an evil eye. It actually talks about how in the lore, most Misfortune Bringers, although not all, have heterochromia iridum, which is eyes of 2 different colors. And they only use one of them while glaring at targets they intend to curse. And sure enough, your level 3, like your first subclass feature, is called the Evil Eye. And it allows you to just create this misfortune on the enemy that you're about to attack, so that as long as you don't have disadvantage on the attack roll, you can apply your sneak attack. So that means you don't need advantage anymore. Just on a straight roll, you'll still get your sneak attack damage. And this creature remains cursed by the evil eye for 1 minute, or until you try to curse somebody else. You also, at level 3, get what's called Misfortunist. And this is the actual, like, cursing that you're given. You get a little small pool of what's called Jinx points, and this is going to be your resource management for this subclass. And there are a whole number of misfortunes that are listed out a little bit later, which you can spend, like, they all have different costs, and so you spend Jinx points on them. You get 4 to start with, and then later on you'll get more, up to, I think the maximum is 6. But the idea here is that there's a saving throw that they've got to make, and it's, charisma based, or intelligence based, your choice. So depending on how you want to build your rogue. And then just a couple of examples really quickly. For 1 Jinx point, there's the Curse of the Debilitated. When a creature cursed by your evil eye takes damage, you can take a reaction and spend 1 Jinx point to roll 1d12. The creature takes necrotic damage equal to the roll. And then after you use this misfortune, the creature's no longer cursed by your evil eye. So that's a common theme. Like, once you do this, it's over, and you've got to do it again, right? So you're going to be forcing a lot of saves with this rogue. Another one, which is called the Curse of the Insensate, is worth 3 Jinx points. And as a magic action, you choose a creature that you can see that is cursed by your evil eye, and you then spend 3 Jinx points. They've got to make a wisdom save, and on a failed save, the creature has blinded and deafened conditions for 1 minute. At the end of each of its turns, the target repeats the save, ending on a success, and again, once you use it, they're no longer cursed by your evil eye. So this is a really cool option for hags. If you've got access to this book or the D&D Beyond version of it, I would absolutely give all of this shit to my hags without the Jinx points. Just let them do it if we're going to get into a hag campaign. But you get to do even more shit, right? So the idea is that at level 9, you get to steal luck. Whenever someone gets advantage, like an opponent gets advantage, you can use a reaction to take that from them. And when you do that, you regain an expended Jinx point, which is a lot of fun. At level 13, you can cast Bestow Curse by using 3 Jinx points. At level 17, you can use your Steal Luck feature instead of once per long rest, 3 times per long rest. So you're really leaning into the idea of creating misfortune and difficulty for the DM and the creatures they're running, but you target like 1 at a time. That's kind of the deal here. So this specific subclass came from the Grim Hollow Player's Guide, which includes a ton of new playable species that they call heritages, a handful of subclasses for each of the PHB classes, a new class called the Monster Hunter, which is really cool and has guilds associated with it. There are backgrounds, feats, advanced weapons and equipment, which are neat, spells and curses. They're really leaning into curses in this book. There's a huge section on transformations and mutations, everything from like lycanthropy through to like what happens if you get like transformed or mutated into an ooze. And then there's a decently deep section on the lore of the world as well, which is really cool because we get even more of that in the other 2 books. This wasn't a paid advertisement. Nobody knows that I'm doing this. I just thought it was a really gnarly kind of subclass to have, and I think it fits the rogue really well. It feels almost like a rogue warlock hybrid without having a multi-class, and I don't know. I just thought some of you would enjoy this as much as I did. If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com. You can also head to itsamimic.com to find a comprehensive episode guide and more information about the show. We do have a Patreon, which not only offers access to our exclusive Discord server, but also hosts over 100 episodes, including a variety of bonus episodes covering topics like 5th edition book reviews and the campaign builder, spells and gods, fae, homebrew inspiration, and even the Blood War. If you'd like to submit any mailbag questions, please reach out to us through any of the social media links in the show notes of this episode, or send us an email at info@itsamimic.com. This has been an episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.